Divorced men of Reddit. What moment with your former wife made me think, yep, I'm asking this girl to divorce me? When the cops showed up and arrested me while I was washing dishes, found out after being taken to the station that she had claimed that I had been beating on her and my 5-year-old son, was acquitted in court a month or so later. The situation was so messed up that the cops actually testified on my behalf. When she informed me she was cheating on me and leaving me for that guy, K, that guy was engaged, not to her, oddly enough. He did not break off his engagement. Edit, I'd like to add this was 6 months into our marriage, together for 3 years. But the last 6 months, she couldn't keep it together. Finding her on Christmas Eve, still sexting a coworker whom she claimed she was no longer in contact with, having been busted sexting him previously. Also, I cleared out there like a blackjack dealer. Ho ho ho. I found out she cheated on me, and upon me confronting her to discuss it, she manipulated me to thinking she was suicidal. Then she admitted the manipulation. Done. She may have been once a nice person, that's all gone now. When I found out the letter between her and her friend about their affair, and how she couldn't wait to be away from me so they could get together, yep, I knew then that it was time for me to get that divorce. I used to love to do chores for her because she loved being taken care of. When she stopped noticing, it started hurting. Then one day I made a bench for our entryway at a barnyard. It took about 40 hours of work. She walked into the house after I worked that day and sat her purse on it and proceeded to start the fight. When she told me that she was mad she got married to me. She stormed me out of the house grabbing her purse. Never noticed the bench was there. I knew then, but I think she already knew. When a wife's friend said to me, "You know your wife is sleeping with my husband." That's a pickup line if I ever knew one. I mean, we might as well. When she physically attacked me in front of our then 11-year-old son, I've been pondering the idea for a while. That was the clincher. We were already not speaking. It was Thanksgiving. I knew she wasn't going to bother, but I made turkey, and whatever goes with turkey for my then 8-year-old daughter. I had the turkey out on the counter to rest after roasting. My beloved bride walked in, calmly threw the turkey in the kitchen trash can and walked out. I had to take my kid to the effing Golden Corral for Thanksgiving. That was it. I was done. Besides the narcissism, random violence, and violent outbursts, it was her strange punishments. Her last one doomed her. My crime, I forgot milk on the way home from work. So she didn't talk to me, not one word, for a week. Pure bliss for a week. When she asked if I was ready to apologize, I handed her the divorce papers. Why? Because you robbed solitude, but provided me with no companionship. My neighbor's wife screaming Punta Cana downstairs as she caught my bride and her husband effing in front of the fireplace. This happened to one of my parents' friends. Both couples did a swap and are now happily married. Preface, we were doing a trial separation. She moved into the spare bedroom of our apartment. Divorce had been thrown around, but we still spent time together and slept together. I wasn't considering divorce, but rather counseling, etc. Up until the day I came home from work. At the same time, I came home every day, and she was in her room being screwed by some random guy she met on Tinder. She had not told him she was married. I kicked him out of the apartment and made it clear I would be moving out as soon as possible. Holy tuna in a box, I'm so sorry. My wife was around less and less, and had to be free to live her life, go out with her friends. More often, she would not call me to pick up her daughter from daycare after promising to pick her up and give some girl time. Just tell her I'm working late and not feeling well. She always had something better to do, and the kids were old enough to know better. I went to pick up our daughter one day. When they called her name, she came running over until she saw I wasn't mom. Again, slumped over her shoulders. I slowly walked over to ask, "What's her excuse this time?" That was a breaking point. Told her to get out. Even helped her pay her security deposit to get her out. When she presented a picture of our 4-year-old daughter and me laying next to each other on the couch watching Blue Clues to our marriage counselor as evidence of my inappropriate conduct around our kids, thank God she saw through that bull crap immediately and told her to knock it off. I may have been standing behind your wife at the groceries checkout. Lady says to her friend, "If John only wanted custody, I would have said he molested the kids." My jaws dropped at that. I was working on a mother-daughter scrapbook as a Christmas present for her. Was going through her Google Photos account looking for pics of them together. Came across a selfie she took with some dude laying on her. Confirmed her second affair. Knew it was over the moment I saw it. That has effed me up pretty good. 15 years in, I find text on her phone. Completely blindsided. No clue she had it in her to cheat. Told me it was just texting. Begged for forgiveness. I caved. A month later, she checked the phone bill to find that it never stopped. Confronted her again. Cue more begging and more denial on my part that she would let the life we had built go down in flames. This went on for months. So many promises. One night, I caught her on the phone when she thought I had left. Suddenly, it's not just text. Sometimes it was phone calls too. Just a friend she could talk to that she let things go too far with. Promised to break all contact. Swore it was never physical. Then I found emails. She detailed things that made me sick to read, but also include descriptions of his house. She broke finally, but swore it was all just in the line of duty. That's how she met, you see, visiting nurse service, and this guy was a client. Promised she was done. Loved me. You see, no chance she was going to let 15 years go like that. I wasn't buying anymore though. She announced she was going out one night with a work friend. Promised they weren't going to a bar, then she'd be home. Maybe late, but not too late. She had taken over her own phone account by then, but wasn't bright enough to understand that Google Latitude was still showing me where she was. And I wasn't about to show my hand. She kissed me goodbye and beeline right for his house, and was there until the wee hours of the morning. Once I knew she had headed, I called her dad and my best friend to keep me from doing anything dumb. I will love them both forever for keeping me calm while my world went effing insane all around me. My father-in-law offered to stay with the kids and wait for her to get home. Around 3 a.m., while couch surfing my buddy's place, she sent me a nasty text asking me where the F I thought I was. I texted her a screenshot of her little GPS dot at her boyfriend's. I let her know I'd be sending her some paperwork soon. When she staged a robbery of a house so she could pawn all of my crap for drug money. When I came to the sad realization that we were just good roommates and have been like that for years. We had been divorced for almost 10 years and she's one of my favorite people in the world. We just weren't supposed to be married. This is such a good answer. Divorce isn't always this horrible event, even triggered by bad incidents. Sometimes it's just not the right kind of love. I was on deployment and she yelled at me for interrupting her family's celebration when I was called on Christmas. Jesus. Her, I can't live in this house anymore. It's not a major city. Me, we're less than an hour away from one. Also, I inherited this house. It cost me nothing but upkeep. Also, I pay every bill. You work 6 hours a week and I have one class. Where do you get off demanding anything? Her, buy me a new house or we're done. Me, get the F out of my house. Wow, we went on a family vacation and I hope she slept the entire time so I could have fun with our son. We met and spent the first 7 years of our married life on the West Coast, then moved to the East. 5 years later, I took a job back on the West Coast, but it was in the middle of the school year, so I went out ahead and lived on my own until everyone could join me. Things haven't been very good between us for a while, but I hadn't articulated to her, or even myself, and beyond the vague feelings of dissatisfaction. One weekend, out there on my own, I decided to take a day and drive to one of my favorite towns, a town which I had lived long before I knew her, a town we had visited often while married. It was late afternoon, but was about to head back to my hotel when I realized that I could visit a particular beach that had special meaning to me from my earlier life there. I stopped at a convenience store, grabbed a gulch like I used to drink on that beach, drove out there, hiked out to a specific spot I remembered, sat down, popped a beer, and looked over the ocean. And it hit me that I hadn't done that in over 20 years. Whenever we'd visit the area, I'd suggest stopping at the beach, but she wasn't interested and would always have to veto the idea. I'm sure reading this seems like the tiniest thing, but it was the catalyst for me realizing that just how completely dissatisfied I was with our relationship. I think from the time I sat down, I knew it was over within 10 minutes. Just sitting there, sipping my beer, looking at the ocean. Whenever she said, "You didn't pray hard enough, that's why our son has cancer," That's why I'm sleeping my prayer partner. Our daughter at 3 years old told us to stop yelling.